She did it over scrambled eggs, like it was nothing. I set the plate in front of Lauren, and she pushed it away with a blank face. Smells heavy, she muttered, eyes on her phone. You liked it yesterday, I told her. Yesterday was yesterday. No smile. No kiss. No thanks. She stood, grabbed her bag, and brushed past me like I was the chair. I called after her. Everything good? Perfect, she said without turning. Don't wait up. I've got yoga after work. Her voice was flat, not tired, detached. That was the first day I looked at my wife and felt like I was talking to a stranger renting our kitchen. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have bought more to-go boxes and fewer flowers. I finished her eggs standing over the sink, because food shouldn't die for nothing. I didn't go dramatic. I don't do drama. I do math, pattern, change, result. So I started counting small things. 3 nights out that week. No real plan at home. Texts answered with one-word replies. Sure. Fine. Busy. Kisses became cheek brushes. Hugs turned into dodges. She laughed alone at her screen and saved silence for me. I gave it 2 days, then I made it simple. Talk tonight. I told her that morning. Let's get on the same page. She didn't look up from her mascara. About what? This vibe. There's no vibe. Then the talk will be short. She zipped her bag like closing a case. I'll see how I feel. I said nothing else, but I cleared my evening, and I put my phone face down at 6. At 7, she sent, running late. At 9, she walked in. Not sorry. Let's do this, I said, motioning to the couch. She leaned against the counter instead, arms crossed. I'm exhausted. So am I. I'm exhausted pretending this is normal. Mike, you're reading into things, she exhaled. Reading into what? Life. Schedule. Work is heavy. My sister's on me. I don't need another person on me. I nodded once. Okay. Translation, you don't want to connect. That's your right. My right is to stop guessing. She rolled her eyes. There you go with rights. Yeah. Rights. Boundaries. Adult words. Don't start a speech. No speech. Logistics. I sat forward. Starting tomorrow, you handle your half of the bills from your checking. I'll handle mine. We split groceries. We split the housekeeper. We split everything. If we're partners, let's be clear partners. If we're roommates, let's be clean roommates. She blinked like a camera flash got her. Where's this coming from? From not being your punching bag. Clarity lowers friction. So you're punishing me because I'm tired? I shrugged. Or I'm responding like a grown man whose wife won't talk. Pick your label. Also, yoga nights end by 9, or you text me a location. Safety courtesy. I'll do the same. And if you're not trying to talk, I'll stop trying to guess. She grabbed a glass of water, took a small sip, set it down too carefully. Wow. You wrote rules. No. I retired confusion. Your tone is off, Mike. Your silence is louder. She stared, then softened one notch. I'm just stretched. Beth's been in my ear with these, like, self-care podcasts. She says I give too much. Beth gives opinions like Halloween candy. Don't be mean. I'm not. I like Beth. But you and I decide our marriage, not her feed. She looked past me. Can we not call it marriage tonight? It feels heavy. That one landed. I logged it and changed nothing. Done for tonight, I said, standing. I'll get you copies of the bills. I'm not mad. I'm setting lines. It feels cold, she murmured. It matches the room. She didn't reply. We slept on opposite sides, with a pillow like a border we didn't cross. If you're waiting for the I cried into a towel part, you'll keep waiting. I don't cry into towels. I move furniture. The next evening, I redirected. I stopped stopping at the bakery she used to love. I stopped checking in during her late nights. I left early for work, hit the gym again, met my friend Dave for a late burger once, then twice. I gave Lauren space like Beth's podcast would applaud. I told myself I was respecting her ask. 2 days into the new logistics, Beth called me herself. Mike, hey, she said, a little too cheerful. Beth is Lauren's older sister by 3 years. PE teacher, big laugh, quick wit. I always got along with her. She'd gripe about her husband Eric being emotionally deaf, then compliment my grill skills, then call me the last sane man. What's up, Beth? Nothing much. Lauren says you're tightening things. Budgets. Schedules. I'm making it simple. She's sensitive. She thinks you're, I don't know, punishing. Punishing would be hiding the remote. I'm asking for clarity. Well, she sighed. I've been telling her to, take time. Women need seasons. Sometimes we just need to be left alone to reset. She's been resetting away from home 4 nights straight. It's not personal. She's overwhelmed. It's not personal to me, but it still hits me, I said. I tried to talk. She declined. So now I'm not confused. Beth went quiet, then shifted gears. Give it space. Please. You two are solid. Don't make it a thing. I leaned on the truck hood outside the job site. Beth, I respect you. But what are we actually solving? It's a phase, she said, almost pleading. If you push, she'll retreat more. Just hold the fort. Let her run it out. You advising me to play statue. She laughed softly. Exactly. She'll circle back. Okay, I said after a beat. I'll hold the fort. For a bit. Thank you, she said, relieved. You're good. Seriously. I hung up and looked at the sky that didn't care. I did the one thing I'm not fond of doing. I took someone else's advice. I gave Lauren space like it was a holiday gift. I watched her accept it like store credit. And she used all of it. 3 more nights out. Then she started staying late at the studio, which was new, because Lauren works in a small marketing office where the latest night is pizza at 7. She came home smiling at Air and not at me. She ate at weird times. She had a new perfume scent I'd never seen in our bathroom. I didn't accuse. I didn't fish. I did logistics again. Saturday, I told her. I'm moving my tools from the garage to the shed. I'll need the space for the truck. Do whatever, she mumbled, scrolling. I'll also cancel Sunday brunch at your friend's. I'm not up for fake smiles. She looked up. They'll notice. Good. Let them. I'm done being your set piece. Her mouth made a small O, then she looked away. You're being dramatic. No, I'm being finished. That night, she slid next to me on the couch with a blanket. She hadn't done that in weeks. I miss us, she said, not looking at me. Which part? I asked. Just us, she said, and put her head near my shoulder, but not on it. I've been distant. I'm sorry. I didn't melt. I also didn't shove her off the couch. I let the words sit there like an unopened package. Do you want to fix it? I asked. I do, she said quickly. I'm just under a cloud. Then start with simple. Cut the late nights for a week. Come home. Talk to me, even if it's 10 minutes. She hesitated. I'll try. Trying is for middle school. Do or don't. She frowned. Why are you so harsh now? Because soft was invisible to you. She nodded, pulled the blanket tighter, and stayed next to me through the end of the show. That was the first illusion of change. The next morning, she left at 7 and didn't text until midnight. At 1 in the morning, I saw her headlights wash the living room. She slipped inside with her shoes in her hand and a smell on her that wasn't ours. I stood up from the chair. I hadn't gone to bed. Yoga ran late? I asked. She flinched. Don't start. Where were you? With friends. Names. That's controlling. Answering is respectful. I'm not doing this at 1 a.m., she said, walking past me. I'm showering. Do that, I told her. Then we're changing house rules. She disappeared into the steam. 10 minutes later, she came out wrapped in quiet. I spoke before she could stall. New rules, I said. If you're out past 10 without a check-in, you're choosing out. That means you sleep in the guest room. I'll do the same. No silent entries. If you want single life, you can have it, but not in our bed. She stared at me like I'd slapped a piece of paper on her forehead. You're ridiculous. I'm precise. You're not my dad. Correct. I'm your husband, and I won't live in fog. She threw her hands. I'm so tired of being monitored. And I'm so tired of being ignored. She dropped the towel on a chair, pulled on a shirt, and walked to the guest room without a word. The door clicked. That was my second initiative. It cost me sleep and bought me clarity. 2 evenings later, Beth swung by to return a slow cooker. She stood in our kitchen, playing with the lid like it owed her money. You two look rough, she said. What's going on? You're her sister, I told Beth. She doesn't tell you? She says you're making rules. I'm responding. She also says you're intense. Beth, your advice was to wait it out. I gave it a week. It got worse. She bit her lip. Give it one more. Please. One more ends when? End of the week, she said, thinking fast. If it's still off, I'll talk to her, really talk. I studied Beth. She looked earnest, not devious. One more, I agreed. Then I'll stop playing statue. We shook on it, which was oddly formal. She left. I watched Lauren abuse the 1-week extension like a coupon. She started coming home at 2, sometimes 3. No apologies. When I asked what was up, she laughed under her breath. You're always so serious, she said as she painted her nails. It's not a courtroom, Mike. Then stop cross-examining my boundaries, I shot back. She grinned like a cat that found the cream. You love rules. It makes you feel big. It makes me feel sane. By Friday, I had more data than patience. I told her bluntly at the counter. Cut the late nights. Tonight. She didn't even glance up. No. Then here's my clarity. Cut them, or I file on Monday. She set the nail polish down, finally facing me. You want out so bad? Go file. I'm not holding you. I laughed once. You sure that's your final draft? I'm done being managed, she said, cold as tile. Great, I replied. Management accepts resignations. I picked up my keys. Where are you going? Lauren asked, suddenly alert. To find a pen, I said, and a witness who remembers you when you cared. I drove to Beth's. I didn't text first. She opened the door in shorts and a hoodie, hair in a knot, TV on low behind her. This can't be good, she said, reading my face. It's not, I told her. We sat on her couch. I outlined the week, the rules, the line I drew that morning, the answer Lauren gave. Beth put her head in her hands. She's being stubborn. Beth, I'm not stubborn. I'm done. I'm filing. She flinched like I'd lobbed a rock through her window. Don't do that. Not yet. You told me to wait. I waited. She used it to sprint. She loves you, Mike. She does. Does she? Name one way this month. She's just in a weird season. I'm not a calendar. She looked wrecked. Then she leaned forward. Okay, if you're convinced something's off and she won't talk, then do something that isn't nuclear. Like what? Find out what's actually happening. Not guesses. Facts. Then you'll know whether to sign or fight. I can't believe I'm saying this, but hire someone. You mean? A private investigator, she whispered, eyes darting toward the empty hallway like someone might be listening. Eric used one once on a client fraud case at his firm. It was quick. It's not romantic, but it's practical. I sat back. Hard proof is not my style. I prefer open questions and simple answers. But I played open. It got me closed doors. I nodded slowly. You have a name? I can ask Eric for one, she said, already grabbing her phone. He knows a guy who does background checks and follow-ups. Discreet. Ask. She typed, waited, typed again. He'll send it, she said. Thank you, I told her. She looked at me with real pity, and I didn't like being on the receiving end of that from anyone. Mike, whatever this is, I'm sorry, she said. Don't be, I replied. I'm not the one misplacing my ring. She managed a small, sad smile. You're still a SD, a good man. I'm a man with a checklist, I said, and stood. That night, I called the number. The voice on the other end sounded like a bowling alley manager. Name's Tom. What do you need? Discretion, speed, and photos, I answered. Package rate for 3 days. Text me the basics. I wired a retainer before I brushed my teeth. The next day he started. He didn't bother me with updates. He didn't need to. I went to work, swung a hammer, answered Dave's questions about a client, and ignored my buzzing brain. Lauren texted, running late, with a heart I hadn't seen in a month. I ignored the heart and looked at my calendar. On day 3, Tom called. You want a link or a folder? A folder, I told him. I opened it on my laptop in my truck, parked in a grocery lot where no one knew me. The photos were ugly in their cleanliness. Restaurant window. 2 people at a corner table. Hands meeting in the middle like they were checking pulse. Backseat angle. Her head tipped laughing, his jawline familiar. The last series was a motel entrance. Her hair tucked under a hat that was a joke as a disguise, his arm around her back. I scrolled once more. The man's face, clear as noon. Eric. I didn't curse. I didn't punch the steering wheel. I put the laptop down, stared at the dashboard, then started the engine. I drove 2 blocks, parked again, and texted Beth. Me. I'm filing. Today. Beth, stop. She loves you. I know she does. Me. She loves your husband more. Check your phone. I sent 3 photos. The ones where there's no room for stories. She didn't reply for 30 seconds. Then my phone rang. She didn't say hello. Is this a joke? she asked, voice thin. No. That's last night, she whispered. That's his jacket. It's also your sister. She made a sound like someone had opened a freezer behind her. I'm going to be sick. I'm headed to an attorney, I told her, and my voice sounded like I was telling someone the weather. If you want to come, you can. Your call. She breathed in, shaky. Where? I gave her the address. 30 minutes. I'll be there, she said, and hung up. I sat in the lot with the engine idling and watched a kid load cases of water into a sedan. He did it with both hands, careful, no rush. I wondered when careful stopped being part of my house. Beth arrived at the office wearing sweats and a baseball cap. No makeup, no pretense. I held the door. She walked through like she was moving through smoke. The attorney was straight-backed and calm. He didn't ask for a movie. He asked for facts. I gave him dates, changes, the link with the folder. He scrolled, pursed his lips, and nodded like he'd seen this exact movie with different actors. Here's where you stand, he told me. You can retain me today. With those, you're in a strong position. We can proceed without fireworks. You are both free to do what you like in your homes as adults. You don't need to announce anything early, but you may if it serves your peace. Beth cleared her throat. If, and I can't believe I'm forming this sentence, if I also pursue separation, can I? Is there someone here who can start that? He glanced at her, at me, then back at her. We can open a file. I'd recommend you retain separate counsel within our firm to avoid conflicts. But yes, we can begin. We signed what we needed to sign. We put retainers on cards. We listened to instructions that sounded like you're free to stop drowning now. Then we stepped into the sunny parking lot and squinted like two people leaving a matinee that was too real. What now? Beth asked. Now I go home, I said, and I take back my house. You're going to tell her tonight? I'm not waiting a week for a clean day. She nodded once. What should I do? You do what keeps you steady, I told her. I'm not your project manager. She half laughed, half sobbed. Okay. We didn't hug. We didn't say we've got this. We got in our cars and drove to our separate storms. At home, I didn't pack my bag. I packed Lauren's. I took her dresses off the hangers, folded them carefully into the suitcase she uses for girls' trips. I added her toiletries, her makeup bag, her framed photo with Beth from a beach vacation, the one with their matching sunglasses. I didn't break anything. I didn't throw. Then I rolled the suitcases to the front door and set them side by side. I put a folder on top. Inside were printed photos Tom had delivered to the attorney that I'd picked up on the way. Copies, not the only set. I washed a pan, cracked 3 eggs, and made an omelet for one. I ate it with hot sauce and quiet. At 2 in the morning, the lock turned. Lauren stepped in, hair messy, shirt tucked in wrong, eyes bright with the wrong kind of happiness until she saw the luggage. She froze. What, are you going somewhere? No, I told her, sliding my dish into the sink. Soon your boyfriend will be house hunting. You'll want to book a room at his place. I did you a favor and packed light to start. Her face went white, then red. What are you talking about? Check the folder, I said, calm. Cliff notes are on top. You're insane, she snapped, reaching for the first page. You have made up. She stopped. The photo stared back. She flipped. Another. She flipped. Another. Her lips moved like she was reading receipts. Put those down, I said, wiping the counter. They're copies. Original sets with counsel. She clutched the edges anyway, crumpling one by accident. Mike, this isn't. Stop. Don't do that. I cut her off. Don't insult me with improv. You do not trip and fall into a motel. You do not hold hands with your sister's husband because the table wobbled. You made a choice. I made mine. She threw the papers on the floor like they burned. I'm sorry, she blurted. I'm so sorry. I've been a lost. It wasn't supposed to. Logistics, I said, rinsing the sponge. You have 10 minutes to grab what you need and go. After that I call counsel, and we talk about different locks and police welfare checks. I'm being polite. Don't make me be efficient. She took a step toward me. Can you forgive me? I'll fix it. I'll tell Beth it was nothing. I laughed short. You can tell Beth whatever you want. She saw the same folder. Her mouth opened and closed. You told her. She's the other spouse in your triangle. She deserves the truth before the neighborhood gossip mill. Lauren's voice broke into small pieces. It meant nothing. I was confused. He was available. We were a mess. I don't even know how it started. By schedules, apparently, I said. 10 minutes. She stared at me like we could rewind. Mike, I love you. You love comfort. You love options. I corrected. I love respect. That's dead here. She took a breath, trying to restart a script that wouldn't load. We can talk to someone. We can. No, we can't. I pointed at the suitcases. 9 minutes. She looked like she wanted to argue. Something in my face made her stop. She went to the bedroom, grabbed a duffel, stuffed it with random clothes like a thief in her own closet. She came back to the door, cheeks streaked, hands shaking. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered. You didn't hurt me, I said, opening the door. You disqualified yourself. She walked out with the bag. I set the suitcases beside her on the porch. The night was cold. I handed her the folder. She flinched. Keep it, I said. You'll need to remember what happened when people ask. She stared at me one more second, eyes begging for a last-minute rescue. I gave her nothing. She picked up her keys and left. 30 minutes later, my phone rang. Beth. She was crying so hard I barely recognized her voice. He came home, she said. I confronted him. He tried to flip it, tried to say he was helping her. Can you believe? I put his stuff on the lawn. He's at his friend's place now. Good, I told her. I'm done here too. She sniffed. Are you alone? Yes. I don't. I can't sleep, she said, quiet. I keep seeing those pictures. I'm going to lose it. Drive over, I replied. Bring fries. I'll make coffee. She laughed through the tears. There's wine. Bring it, I said. Just don't expect me to drink more than a glass. She arrived in 20 minutes, eyes red, sweatshirt inside out. She handed me a bag greasy from fries and a bottle of red. We sat at my kitchen table like two patients. We talked until 3, about everything but them. We watched an old comedy, scrolled photos of her dog, argued about whether a 7-minute plank is worth it. We didn't touch. We didn't hint. We were two people holding the same brick from different walls. As the sky bleached, she fell asleep on the couch with a blanket over her and one shoe still on. I wrote a note. Guest room has clean sheets. I left it on the coffee table and went to bed for 2 hours. By noon, she was gone, the blanket folded, the bottle corked, the fries demolished. We texted later that day. Beth, thank you. For the couch. For not making it weird. Me, we're both tired of weird. Beth, true. Me, you good? Beth, strong enough. I thought that was our bottom. It wasn't. 3 days later, Lauren made her move. Not at me, at the narrative. I got 3 calls from mutual friends. The script was similar. We heard you were controlling. We heard you locked her out. We heard you're filing because you're cold. I took a breath, then another. The old me would have let gossip rot itself. The me who'd just watched respect get incinerated decided to put out the fire with water, not wishful thinking. I made a group chat. Not a small one. I added my parents, her parents, Beth, a few of our close friends, Dave, 2 of Lauren's co-workers I trusted, and our neighbor who loved a clean lawn and a truthful sentence. I typed once. I didn't pour. I didn't scream. I set a record. Good morning. There are stories circulating about why I'm separating from Lauren. I won't argue in the street. Here are facts. I attached the folder. I wrote 3 bullet points. Dates, boundaries I set, results. I finished with, please do not reply all. If you have questions, ask me directly. If you want to help, keep the record straight. I hit send. I went to the workshop and sanded a table until my arms ached. My phone lit up like a cheap Christmas display, then went quiet, then lit again. I ignored it for an hour. When I checked, there were private messages, my parents saying they loved me, her parents apologizing for anything they'd assumed, Dave sending a thumbs up, and a knew you weren't crazy. Her coworker wrote, she told people you were controlling. I'm sorry. This is ugly. The neighbor sent a simple, that's rough. Let me know if you need help with the lawn. That last one made me smile, because it was exactly him. Lauren texted me once. How could you? I didn't answer. Truth isn't cruelty. It's sanitizer. That night, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Lauren, mascara streaked, hair a mess, holding nothing. I opened the door halfway and kept my hand on it. She stepped in like I had invited her. I didn't move. Please, she said. Please, can we talk? Talk, I replied, neutral. She reached out like she was going to hug me. I stepped back. She dropped her arms. I ruined everything, she said. Voice tiny. I made mistakes. I was stupid. I was angry at things that weren't you. I listened to people who don't live in our house. I panicked. I made the worst choices of my life. I miss you. I miss our home. I miss your dumb omelets and the way you leave your boots by the door. Flattering the omelet won't work, I said. She swallowed hard. I will do anything. I'll go to therapy every day. I'll quit my job. I'll move states. Whatever you want. Please don't finalize this. No. Her face crumpled. You're not even going to think about it. I thought about it when you walked 10 feet with a man who wore the same cologne as you told me you hated. I replied. I thought about it when you told me to go file, as if we were negotiating a lunch spot. I thought about it when you tried to rewrite this story in a group chat you didn't know I could outright. I'm done thinking. People forgive, she insisted. People restart. We had good years. Doesn't that count? It counts as a nice file in a full cabinet, I said. It's not a passport for reentry. She wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. I don't want to lose everything. You already cashed the check, I told her evenly. You just didn't read the balance. You need to leave. Can't we just sit for 5 minutes? Her eyes darted past me, toward the couch where Beth had slept. I know she was here that night. Nothing happened, I said. And even if it had, you retired your vote. She took a step, like she could push past my boundary with persistence. I didn't move, and I didn't raise my voice. Lauren, I am asking you not to come to this house without an invitation. Consider this notice. Do not show up again. Communicate through counsel about property and logistics. This door is closed. She stared at me, waiting for the soft landing. I wasn't selling any more pillows. Please, she whispered. No, I closed the door. I leaned my forehead on the wood for 1 second. Not because it hurt, but because I was cataloging the moment, locking it in as when the wind changed direction for good. The formalities moved fast. The attorney did what he said he'd do. Records filed. Calls made. Meetings set. We kept it clean and quiet. I kept the house, the truck, my tools, the little cabin up north my dad and I built. She took her car, her clothes, her own furniture from her parents' storage. On Beth's side, the split wasn't quiet. She had logs, codes, and a meticulous calendar. She moved with the efficiency of a coach with a whistle. She took the house because his name wasn't on it. He left with his suits and his apology she never opened. I only know this from a 2-minute porch conversation with her dad, who came by to return a ladder and ended up crying into my shoulder for 10 seconds before he apologized for the damp spot on my shirt. Lauren didn't stop trying right away. She texted me once, then again, then weekly. Please talk. I can change. I'll wait as long as it takes. I set my phone to archive anything from her. Not delete, archive. I'm not trying to erase a decade. I'm trying to keep it filed where it belongs. Beth and I didn't make a habit of nightly couch therapy, but we saw each other. Not in secret. Not in the dark. Coffee on Saturdays at a diner where the waitress kept calling me Han and Beth Coach. Walks at the park when the weather tried to be kind. A movie in a theater where we both fell asleep and woke up at the credits. We didn't flirt. We didn't drag anything into the gray. We talked like people who survived the same wreck by grabbing different railings. She joked more than I did. That's her defense. I used dry one-liners. That's mine. Your lawn looks better, she said once, nudging my elbow with a coffee cup. I fired the committee in my head, I replied. Now it's just me and the mower. Do you miss her? Beth asked, not looking at me. I miss the good years, I said. I don't miss living with a stranger. She nodded. Same boat. Lauren faded from our circles. Not vanished, just muted. People stopped buying her stories because I took the mic and plugged it into facts. Her parents still loved her, and I didn't try to interfere with that. They visited her at her new place. They brought her groceries once. They told Beth quietly that they were ashamed of the choices she'd made. Beth told them to stop taking ownership of every adult around them. 2 months out, the papers were finalized. Clean signatures, no confetti. I didn't celebrate. I cut my own hair too short, bought a used Jeep with good tires, and started arriving at the gym before the guys who grunt like they're filming. I went fishing alone on a Sunday and didn't post a fish photo because I'm not 15. I put a punching bag in the shed and used it until I could taste iron. I slept like a man who's not listening for a key at 2 a.m. I also got better at omelets again. Habits come back when they're not interrupted by chaos. One evening, Dave sat with me on the back steps. He opened a soda, watched the neighbor's kids chalk a hopscotch grid, and said, "You handled it like a pro." "I handled it like a guy who didn't want to be broken," I answered. He nodded. "You were scary calm." "I've seen what yelling gets men," I said. "It gets them the wrong headline." He laughed. "True." He stared at me for a second like he was about to ask a stupid question and wisely didn't. He bumped his shoulder against mine once and changed the topic to a busted drill at the shop. Beth came by later that week to drop off a book I'd mentioned wanting to read. She stood in the doorway, holding it like it was a delicate thing. It wasn't. It was a beat-up paperback. "Come in," I told her. She stepped inside, eyes flicking around like the walls might tell her secrets. They didn't. They're boring walls. "How are you?" I asked. "Good," she said. "Tired. Free. Hungry. All the basic settings. I've got chili on the stove." She grinned. "I didn't come for dinner." "And yet," I said, opening the lid, "chili exists." We ate at the counter like two people who know where the forks are. After, we took a walk. She told me Eric was trying on remorse like a suit he wanted to return. I told her Lauren had stopped texting for 2 weeks. "Does it feel weird?" Beth asked. "Peaceful," I said. She looked at me, held the look a beat longer than usual, and then glanced away. "I'm glad." We stopped at the corner where the streetlight flickers like it's considering a career change. "Beth," I said, because honesty stops me from tripping later, "I'm getting signals from myself I didn't plan on." She laughed, nervous. "From yourself? That's new." "I'm not ready," I told her, "but I'm on the ramp. I want to take you to dinner when we both feel like we can do it without carrying a courtroom inside us." Her smile was small and real. "You say the most romantic legal metaphors." "Don't get used to it." "I won't," she said. "But yes, when you're ready." We kept walking, not touching. The cool evening did its job. The light flickered and then, finally, stayed on. Here's the postscript the internet always wants. I kept my house. I kept my truck. I kept my business, which is growing because the world never runs out of cabinets that need fixing. I bought a used boat that runs better than it looks. My Saturday mornings have coffee and a dog from the shelter who acts like I rescued him from a burning building even though I just signed papers. Lauren, from what I hear through the polite grapevine, moved twice. She told different versions to different people and found out that versions collide. She still has friends. I'm not rooting for her to be lonely. I'm rooting for her to learn what a line costs. Beth is doing okay. Better than okay. She took over a girls' basketball team and turned them into a machine that plays with joy. She laughs again without it sounding like a cough. She and I see each other often. Sometimes it's coffee. Sometimes it's a hike where she walks too fast, and I pretend I'm not outpaced. There's a look in her eyes that wasn't there before, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't notice. I notice everything now. It's my new religion. If you want a fairy tale, go buy one. What I got is better. I got my spine back. I got my time back. I got my name back in my own mouth. And when the knock comes at 2 a.m. in my memory, I open the door and see myself standing there. He's not pleading. He's not bargaining. He's making eggs for one and not wasting food.